cheering in the dugout is really helpful.
When you're in the batter's box, do you hear the cheering?
Yeah, definitely. I try to keep it out because you want to focus on what you're doing and having a good at bat. But sometimes, like, there is a few times I can hear my teammates screaming "move," so it's awesome. Yeah.
For those of you who missed that, Kaylee's nickname in high school, or I guess still, is Moose. She was definitely a beast when it come to playing the game, that's for sure. Kaylee, is it? You know, we were in a pretty tough softball league. Actually, still are. Yorba Linda is going to leave after next year, but we're still going to be in the Empire League. We're in a pretty tough league there. How much different is the level of competition you're facing now compared to what you faced even in such a good league like we were in?
Oh, wow. Well, growing up, you always thought, like, the top part of the batting lineup is the best. You always want to focus on them because the bottom one won't do that much damage. But here, everyone is a good hitter. Everyone can hit. Everyone can do some damage to the team. They can make something happen. So it's all about staying on your toes on defense and making sure that you do your part when you're on offense. It's really intense throughout the whole game. Even the dugout, like I said, like you said, it's really about being intense the whole time because you're with all the best players in the country. So there's no room for mistakes or mental errors. You really have to work the whole time.
Now, Kaylee, with California girls being so in demand in softball, have you seen any old opponents of yours that you've played against?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was really glad to see Kelsey Claus from Pacifica High School down the street from us that's actually in Empire League. She was on LSU, and we played them, and I was like, wow, like, it's so awesome to be able to see that, another California girl there, so that's just awesome.
You give a friendly hi, but you still want to beat each other, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
That doesn't stop. What's the greatest thing you've learned from your coach, from the new coach now? You've gone, every time you move up, you get a different coach. What's the biggest thing that your coach at Georgia has brought to your game now?
Oh, well, Coach Lou who's the head coach here. She definitely is a little spark. She's so intense, and you wouldn't think of it when you first look at her, but she's so intense and competitive and always working to get better. And one of the greatest things I've learned from her is to look what's next. What's the next play? What can you do after the play to make it better? Because the play doesn't end until the ball is in the circle, so you always want to look for what's next. She really made that sink in, and it applies to life. So what do you do now? What can you do next to help you be successful later?
Never give up.
Yeah, never give up. Definitely.
Never give up. If you could go back let's go back to your youth sports and your high school, from the time you started playing, Kaylee, if there was one thing you could change or eliminate that you experienced back then, what would that be?
Coach, I don't really think. Actually, there was one thing a long time ago, but I think it really helped. It was one of my first years in travel ball, and I was having the worst luck. Everything was falling apart. There was so much politics. There was so much politics with the team and the coaches that they had players playing that really weren't supposed to be there, and I was just like, wow, what's going on? So I was about to go back to rec ball, but my mom is actually the one that talked to me and said, you know what, I don't think you belong in that league. You're always growing, and I would hate to see you waste that talent. So I think just having me not want to be around all that atmosphere was bad. I would have, now looking back, it was kind of dumb, but it helped me grow, definitely, and it changed my life for the better, especially hearing it from my mom. So it was bad, but it was for the better.
That was good. Well, and that's where we learn more from failure or from struggles than we do from the successes, and that's a prime example. And audience, please listen to what she just said there. Who gave her that bad experience was the adults, okay? Drama or politics among adults in youth sports is where a lot of the problem comes. And a lot of times, and I can tell with Kaylee, even the leader she is, I can imagine she is so respectful that she probably just sat there and took it for a while. Now, hopefully, and I know senior year I managed to get her. I don't know if the coach before me had done some, or her parents there. Like I said, her parents are great support, but she would be good about, I made sure she knew that door was open to talk to me if there were issues, and she did that. But I can imagine, Kaylee, as respectful as you always were and the way you and Kiani have been raised there, that you probably didn't do that earlier on, especially when you're new to a travel like that. It's sort of intimidating to think about talking to the adults, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What really made me think was how my parents would talk about it, too, about how what's going on with this team, this is it, right? We shouldn't have our kids around this. That's what really got me thinking, like, I shouldn't be around this either. Like, if my parents don't think it's right.
There you go. So, we need to keep the positive out there, and I know there's some coaches that just, God bless you, think you're doing the right thing. You're good coaches, but keep in mind that don't think the kids don't see what's going on when it's negative, because they really do. We may not always realize it, but they're seeing us. We're setting an example for them, and we got to keep that in mind. So even if we're not always going to agree with coaches, okay, coaches are not always going to agree. But there's the difference about being respect. We got to take a commercial break. Kaylee, don't go away. We'll be back after this profit timeout.
Okay.
Experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmart, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Ticketsurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. Ticketsurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Welcome to the Monster Marketing Group, your one-stop shop for all your marketing needs. Anything you need to make that marketing and advertising campaign stand out, we're your people. Concepts, design, production, social media, anything that you can dream up, we're going to make happen for you. And we can do it in a very quick turnaround. Please give us a call at 888-49-MONSTER.
Time flies when we're having fun. Coach Mike, Kidz and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. My call-in number, 855-693-4897. My guest on the line, Kaylee Pualoa, former Western High School standout here in Anaheim. Now he's going to be a superstar at the University of Georgia. She is a bulldog. So a moose that's a bulldog here, Kaylee. That's quite a combination.
Yes, sir.
Now, Kaylee, you're taking some summer classes now. You just came from a class, I believe you're saying?
Yes, sir. I'm taking an English class.
Now, you're trying to get ahead, or
Definitely. Coming in, they said that we get early admission. We get to pick our classes early, but coming all the way from California, I didn't get to do that my freshman year. so I didn't want to have to take English during my regular years where I'm taking my criminal justice classes, so I'm getting that out of the way right now.
Well, good for you. Kaylee, you're definitely a driven person. I know that. You know you set goals, and that's why I like. Kaylee was the first person I met when I got hired at Western, and that was really good. Somebody came in here. That was pretty cool because her and the athletic director sort of gave me a tour of the place, and right there I saw leadership. I think you were working for the yearbook or something, taking pictures that day.
Yeah, I was taking pictures for the yearbook that day.
Now, Kaylee, with all the stuff you were doing, I was talking before you came on earlier about how the colleges don't just want smart kids, but they want kids that are involved and take leadership roles and have a personality, have some sort of a life going on. How much did that play when they were recruiting you? Did as far as your activities? I know you're an explorer that you've been involved with.
Yes, sir. I talked to them about that, and that really interested them because they like having people that are able to get stuff done in the classroom and at the same time be able to perform at their expectations and also just be able to have a life outside and be able to do something after that because you can't play softball forever. I wish you could, but like our bodies won't allow us. We get at that age where you just can't play anymore, so you have to have a life after, and that's what they want they want people to get a head on their shoulders.
That's good. I always say my favorite commercial is the one that the NCAA runs that says was it 67% or 75% of their student athletes go pro in something other than sports. But since you brought that up, Kaylee, if you had the opportunity to play some pro softball before you went to be a police officer, would you do that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to getting an opportunity to play pro.
And pro softball is pretty big in the South, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of our teammates are actually in the league now, the ones that just graduated. And one of our own seniors, Tessito, she just got drafted to Ohio. So it's just awesome to be able to see them and having played with people like them and saying, oh, I can do that too. That's motivation in itself. That's
pretty cool. I hope you make that. That would be really neat to be able to go further. Like you said, you can't do it. You got a good head on your shoulders, Kaylee, that's for sure. Hey, Kaylee likes to have fun. Believe it or not, even though these college kids work hard, they're having fun out there. And Kaylee, you came back at the break, and I laughed because the first thing you told me, besides you didn't run as much as you thought you were going to, but that they had you as a backup catcher. How many games did you get to catch?
I didn't actually get to catch any games.
Okay.
Because we had an awesome catcher, and she probably has the best arm in the whole country, Katie Brown. So, I had no problem with letting her catch because that's her position. But it was just fun because for a while, like during practice and everything, they had me in there getting drills in and practicing, and it was just fun because they heard that I was catching in high school. So it was just fun.
Kaylee, we better not let them hear too much, or you're going to play every position. In just the year I had you played, I think, every position. You pitched for us, you caught for us. First base, I remember, shortstop, some third base. I don't know if we ever got you to second base. Center field, I know, and some left field. I don't know. So second base and right field might have been the only two I don't remember seeing you in.
Yeah, that's actually funny because right field is actually my prime position. That's when I usually always play. That's what I play here at Georgia the majority of my playing time. So it's just, high school was fun also because I got to play all those other positions that I wouldn't normally play. That's not just because I wouldn't play. It's because I'm left-handed too, so I was kind of limited. So.
Well, I got that left-handed second baseman now, so.
Yeah, my sister plays left, so that's.
She does. She had, second base I think is pretty cool in that because actually being left-handed, she covers first a lot of the time, which is I know where you go when the other pitcher switches. I notice that, and I think it actually helps her sometimes because you get the double play, so getting the lead at second. So second base isn't too bad. I know coaches are often limited about where they want to put lefties because that extra turn you have to make, but. Keanu's definitely doing a good job. You did. Kaylee came up to me, and we had a lot of catcher drama her senior year, and it was one of the games we lost. I think it was Paramount. We lost 6-0. And after the game, Kaylee came in and said, "Coach, I can catch too." I thought, "Jamie, I already got you pitching. How are you going to catch her?" We had another pitcher too, luckily. But so then we threw Kaylee behind the plate, and it definitely helped us at times. And Kaylee, I think you could just about anything. What about coaching? You ever going to come back and coach?
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about Katie Harvey?
No, you. You're going to come back and coach.
Oh, you were talking about me. Yeah, definitely. I want to be a coach. Me and Katie Harvey were actually talking about it one day, saying one day we're going to come back and we're both going to be co-coaches and coach Western softball. So
hey, I will gladly bow out of the way for you when that comes, Katie. That would be, I think, a great thing. And Katie is a great leader. I think she's planning on playing at Santa Ana. I still cannot believe that she didn't get signed somewhere.
Yeah, I know. For a while, she was really looking forward to, I think it was Hawaii, going to UH, but yeah, it just didn't happen. So
unbelievable. She is an awesome player, and I could see her as a coach very easily. You two, that would be quite a. I bet you girls would really have quite a team if you two teamed up. That would be pretty awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Kaylee, I know I've taken a lot of time from you today, and I really do appreciate the time, and I'm sure we'll see you some more. I'm definitely, are you coming to Palm Springs again this new year?
Actually, I think I heard a rumor that we're not going to be able to go to Palm Springs. We're going to go to Florida instead. So, I mean, that could just be a rumor I heard, but who knows? So, hopefully, because I really enjoyed seeing my family and friends out there, too.
Well, I definitely make sure we get to the next one, and if not, if you have to go to Tempe for the regionals again, I'll definitely make a trip over there to see you. Good luck with your continued success there in Georgia. I know you're going to do well, Kaylee, because you're that person that I think isn't going to let yourself fail.
Yes, thanks, Coach.
All right, enjoy your day, Kaylee, and keep in touch. And thanks for the shirt.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for everything.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, see you.
Okay, that was Kaylee Puloa. Again, she played for me the last year. She was 4-year standout at Western High School here in Anaheim, and just a really neat person. Her and her sister both. Her sister's a lot quieter, but Keani is just a neat player. She goes out and does her job. And they're both good examples. And like you heard Kaylee said, a lot of it had to do with what the support their parents got, the advice their parents gave them. Obviously parents are going to sort of demand to a degree. But I think that one thing that really helped Kaylee and helps Keani is that their parents guide them more than just demand where they go. And that's what I've seen. And their whole family gets involved. Grandpa is sort of almost the unofficial team photographer. He's taken a lot of pictures for us, so that's really cool. Anytime that a player, I like to get players on this show just as much as I do coaches or anybody else, because just like Kaylee, they've all got a story of what has impacted them in their youth sports journey, and that's what this show is about. Okay, and that's when we get out there. Us adults, we run from our experience, and God bless all of us adults. I think we got it down pretty good. If we didn't have all the volunteers and coaches out there, obviously, things wouldn't be as good as they are. But at the same time, I think both coaches at times and parents, we get, I won't say carried away. I think we just get caught up in we're trying to do the best job we can. And sometimes we sort of get our vision locked in. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And we get locked in and we don't always see things going on around us and see where we got to be around us. So sometimes take a step back and take time. Now, every year I take time to talk to my players. Okay, before the season starts and at the end of the season, I have a one-on-one with every player. And I let them know what I saw or what I expect, depending on whether it's before or after. I let them know what I'd like to see changed, but I also give them the opportunity to give me some feedback. What do you think we could have done better as coaches? And, it's sort of like in Toastmasters, the value of Toastmasters of learning to speak in front of a group is the evaluations you get. To me, this is like getting a Toastmaster evaluation. I may not agree with everyone, whatever Kidz says, but I will say this, I have learned over the years, I have learned little tidbits here and there about things that I might change or might do a little bit better or might focus on more to help the team get better. And that's the goal. That should be our goal as coaches, to help that team get better. And so I think get impact from your players, and I think it empowers them also to let your players know that they are important to you as a coach, that they're not just out there, they're not just puppets that you're running around the field and expect them to do things for you, that they have a value as individuals, and that's going to help them perform better. It's going to help them guide their drive, even if they don't end up playing sports later. Maybe they stop, but it's going to let them know that they've got to learn to make some decisions too, and their input is important. And so I really suggest coaches, if you're not doing something along that line, that you don't have some way to have that feedback with your players, that you're missing out on an opportunity for you to become better as a coach. Got to take another break. Coach Mike, Kidz and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back after these messages.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
We're the Brothers Bear Podcast Live, and I'm your host, Sanj, and I'm always joined by
Edgar,
Carlos Medrano, and this is a show where we talk about
comics, movies, TV, video games, stand-up, music, and many more geeky things.
Catch us live on Rant Radio Network on Mondays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m.
That's another commercial in the bag.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
DM Narc Radio Show is now airing on the Rant Radio Network. You've heard the three guys Rant refer to us as the Clam Chowder Power Hour. Now we get to bring our New England humor over to Los Angeles. We'll be airing Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and we'll cover everything from local to national politics and news. Guess what? We're uncensored too. I'm Dave. Join me and Nick Friday on the Rant Radio Network.
Oh, here I'm back. Coach Mike here. Kidz and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. If you'd like to sponsor the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show or refer a guest, you can call me at 877-554-5952 or send me an email, coachmike at kidzinsports.com. That's KIDZ, and as in Nancy, sports.com. Love to hear from you, and let us help promote your business. These guys do a great job on social media and the local area. Even surprising the internet, one of the drawbacks over the years has been that it's more of a global reach, and so a lot of small businesses might say, what does that do for me locally? Well, these guys have addressed that issue, and I really like what I see them doing here. So give us a shot, and let us help promote your business and get you more customers. If you're not advertising, I don't know if you've ever heard that old story about the guy that got up in the morning, was wearing his advertised pajamas, took a shower with advertised soap, brushed his teeth with advertised toothpaste, put on his advertised suit, drove to work in his advertised car, but he wouldn't advertise because he said it didn't pay. And shortly after that, he had to advertise his going out of business sale. So keep that in mind. If you're not advertising, how are you bringing in new customers? Word of mouth might be the best way, but it's not the only way, and it doesn't reach the most people. So put a little aside for some advertising, especially on Kids in Sports. Help me promote Teach First, Win Later, so our kids can have a good sports experience. You heard one of the things that Kaylee has shared. The one bad experience that she remembers was early on in travel ball. And believe me, this happens in rec too, folks, so don't think it's only travel. But there are politics in youth sports, unfortunately. Politics in just about everything. And that was the one thing she didn't like. Not just the fact that the coaches would have disagreed with their politics going on or certain players are playing, but hear what she said. It was her parents talking about it, aside from the game, on the way home or when you get home or whatever. And I had to think about that at one time too, because there were some coaches that my daughter had over the years that, sometimes would drive me crazy. And especially being a coach. When you're a coach, you can't turn it off. Okay? It's if you're a coach, you've been coaching youth sports for a while, you can't turn it off. It's especially if you're there, it's your passion, you love helping the kids and stuff. And so, I respect every coach and their way to run the team, and we have to respect that. But that doesn't mean it doesn't bother you sometimes when you see them doing some things that make you ask questions. So politics is, it's a two-part word. I saw that once. Poly, which is Latin meaning many, and ticks, which are blood-sucking creatures. So there's politics for you. Next week, I'm still working since I've just sort of got the show back in the air. I'm working on my guest lineups for upcoming weeks. I've got some great guests that will be coming, but unfortunately, a lot of them are doing, summer sports clinics and stuff like that now. So every week, I guarantee you, I will bring a show worthy of you listening, the best 2 hours that internet radio can bring, because I want to help your kids be successful through youth sports. And that part of that is educating parents. If you haven't been involved in youth sports, where are you getting your information? Well, you're getting it from your friends, some other parents. And of course, when you sign your kid up for a team, all the other parents there are going to do one of two things. They're either going to be your best friend right away, and they'll welcome you. And there's some of them that are going to say, oh, wait a minute, is that kid going to take my kid's spot? And then they suddenly won't like you, and you won't know why. I'm being a little facetious, but believe it or not, that does go on. It's not the majority, I don't think, but it does happen more often than it should. So we got to think about that. Are we out there helping these kids grow as athletes and as young adults? Okay. If the young lady I had on here, Kaylee Puloa, is an excellent example that if your kid can follow in her footsteps, you know what? You're going to be doing pretty good. Because this young lady is a leader. We get very respectful. Matter of fact, all the kids at Western, when I got hired there, I brag about that. I tell you, this is something we're going to see. Good friend of mine, Nelson Cook, is old school football coach, and he'd say, it's Coach Davis. It's Coach Davis, not Coach Mike. I don't mind Coach Mike. I mean, I'm Mike. To me, that's still showing some respect. But the old school is last name, Coach Davis, Coach Smith, Coach Johnson, whatever it might be. When I got hired at Western, every one of these young ladies on my teams the last couple of years has addressed me as Coach Davis from day one, and I did not tell them to do that. I didn't say a word about it. That's how I've been treated. To me, That is amazing, because where does that come from? That comes from the parents of these young ladies. Okay? And that's where it starts. Parents, it starts with you at home. Okay? And if you're not respecting your child's youth coach, guess what example you're setting? Guess what example you're setting? And there's going to be times, especially if you've played a sport or if you've coached as a sport, in a sport, and then you have your son or daughter on a team, and especially at the rec leagues when it's starting out, that coach is a volunteer. And some are going to be good, some are going to be okay, some are going to be not so good. But they're spending their time trying to help these kids. And they need to be respected and appreciated for what they are doing. So when you want to show them, most of these coaches, most new coaches I've seen are very glad to have some help. Again, if it's done in the right way, though. Don't just start criticizing them and beating them up because they didn't do a drill a certain way, or because they didn't run a strategy, or they didn't put the kids where you think they should be. You get a lot more, You get a lot more, catch a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Do we even remember that saying anymore? I know I'm dating myself, but it's true. Build that relationship, and that way you get the opportunity maybe to have an impact and be a positive impact. And your kids will see how you treat them. How do you treat the umpires? Okay, same thing with umpires. You got umpires out there that are very good. You got some that are not so good. And most of them are in between. But again, and yeah, they're making more money now. I'm almost sometimes tempted to switch, but I don't want to get hit by the ball back there. When I'm coaching the third base box, I have time to get out of the way. That umpire behind the plate doesn't have time to get out of the way. So, yeah, they're making a little better money now. But you know what? You got to remember something. They've got both sides against them to a degree. And some of these umpires take way more abuse than they ever should, especially at a youth sports game. And I'm sorry, parents, if you want to get crazy. And there's times I've gotten upset. Sure there are. But you know what? If I want to protest a call, there's a way to do it. You call timeout. You go talk to the ump. I don't need to yell at him from the dugout. I don't need to be screaming. I'm not going to cuss at him. You go talk to him about the play. If he's not going to change his mind, you don't gain any points by arguing with him and making a fool out of yourself. Okay? Whether he might be wrong. You might be totally in the right. Okay? But you're going to win a battle and you're going to lose the war. Because if you go out there screaming at that ump, get yourself thrown out of the game. Not only are you suspended in high school, usually for the next game, but you've now set an example for your players that you might want to think twice before you do that. And I know the old thing about standing up for your players and stuff like that. I get that. But there's a line as far as how far you go to do that. Okay? And you got to pick your battles and pick the way that you do it. That umpire will remember you, good or bad, how you treated him in that game. I've built up a relationship with a lot of umpires that see me, that know, I can talk to them about a play within reason. They know they're not, because I'm not yelling at them all the time. They know that there's going to be some respect given. So keep that in mind, parents, when you're out there, trying to coach, trying to help out, or whatever team you got your kid on. Make sure that you keep these things in mind, because if you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you later. All right? What example are you setting for your players? Are your players going to grow up respecting the coach the way you respect that umpire? That's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to emanate later. So keep that in mind. It's not always easy. Some of us, we're all built a little bit differently. Some of us are hotheads. Some of us, we get excited easily. I try to always take a breath and step back before I go complaining. Because that way you get a chance to think. Because once you say something, if you say the wrong thing, you can't take it back. You can ask forgiveness, but you can't not say it. Okay? Once it got out there, it's out there. So keep that in mind. I really appreciate Kaylee joining me today, and other athletes out there. If you know a student athlete, full or partial scholarship, or even if they play with no scholarship, what is their story? Have them get a hold of me. Send me that email, coachmike@kidsinsports.com, because I'd love to get them on the show and hear what they've got to offer, because we can all learn from that. And that 7-year-old right now that's just starting to play softball or soccer or volleyball, you might have something for their parents to help them, and maybe they'll get that scholarship. Maybe they'll be that 1 or 2%. But let's keep our focus in the right places. And that focus should be academics, should be how we treat people. Let's get the real lessons from sports out here. The teamwork. You heard Kaylee talk about the teamwork. That's what it's about, being a part of a team. And we got an acronym for that in youth sports and probably sports in general. TEAM, T-E-A-M. Together, everyone accomplishes more. Together, everyone accomplishes more. So if you think you're just a superstar and the rest of the team there is there to worship you, you're going to miss out on something. Trust me. Be a part of that team, because that's where the ultimate value is going to be. I don't care how good of a player you are. Sooner or later, you're like Kaylee said, your body isn't going to do it anymore. Does the name A-Rod ring a bell? This guy was absolutely one of the best, if not the best player in baseball for a period of time. Boy, he's struggling now, isn't he? Now, he might come back and contribute this year. I hope he's able to. But sooner or later, no matter how good you are, you're going to be done. You're going to be finished. And what are you going to do then? What is your plan to move forward? Hope you've enjoyed today's show. I'll be back next Tuesday again on the Rant Radio Network. And if you missed the show, or if you have a friend you want to give them the opportunity of the show, check out rantradionetwork.com, and they'll be able to see and listen to the show all week long. Have a great week, and teach first and win later.